Rogue has to play Onpung, but in an hour. But I mean, does that mean that after an hour he's just going to forfeit the Kung Fu Cup, or what's the deal? Bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player. This is ByuN, going up against the red Zerg in the top right-hand side, Rogue. TvZ best of 3 here, guys. Another matchup coming up today. And hopefully you guys are having some fun with me so far in these games. Again, we'll try and jump back into some Marrow action as well a little bit later on. We also have Zest Deer on the second screen. I could have shown you a bit of that. I was just very interested. I was just trying to figure out the bracket as best as possible. But for now, let's just watch this TvZ. I'm very happy to do that. This should be game number 1. As we kick off with a spawning pool first in the main base. Getting this underway nice and quickly. So we're going to be a little bit aggressive in these earlier stages, obviously. Blue Shift is a little bit of a smaller map than some of the others in rush distance, so opening it up with a few Zerglings, they can get across very quickly. They can definitely be a massive nuisance when it comes to, you know, a command center being built and delaying that and stuff like that. And as we do have the 6-lings starting up, so 6-lings is, now there's obviously no gas with this, it's a pretty fast expansion, so it's not going to be a ling flood. It should only be 6-lings and no more than that. And as ByuN puts his expansion down in the low ground, where this Reaper goes becomes very important, of course. If it goes straight across the map, then he does run the risk of a CC being in a lot of trouble to these Zerglings. And as we have got them coming through the top side there, those few lings. So, lings coming through the top. Reaper is going to start heading across. Marine comes out from ByuN, which is something that a lot of players will just go for nowadays naturally. When they go for a Reaper expand, they send the Reaper across a Marine, so that they have something to really fight against these Zerglings. Probably a few SCVs will pull down here as well. As the Reaper goes all the way across, we'll see that this is not a hatchery first, and we'll probably start pulling back to the bottom left-hand side pretty much immediately. As we do have the Lings coming in straight towards that SCV. Marine starts to deal a little bit of damage there, some Lings taking some hits. The other SCVs pulling down to the low ground, and, well, just going to try and keep this building up. Command center about halfway built at the moment, as we are going to be seeing a couple of Marines are going in and fighting against this. SCVs continue to deal a little bit of damage there. And again, multiple Marines getting picked off at the moment. Reaper coming through too, grenade goes down, and is going to be able to clean up those Zerglings. Nice defense by ByuN in the end, very little loss. The Marines clean up, and just a good job. Reactor was delayed on the barracks because he built a second Marine, which means only a single Hellion on the way out at the moment, though, so that does slow ByuN down a little bit here in these early stages. And the Reaper will continue towards the upper right-hand side, and it is having a little bit of a poke around to also see what's going on. Third hatchery drops in from Rogue, and that's something that ByuN just moves over to check there for a second. Does get confirmation of it with a Hellion from ByuN also coming up through the center of the map, so Hellion coming up towards the upper right-hand side here. A couple of Queens from Rogue will move forwards. And they will start to nibble away at that Reaper, which throws down a grenade. Not quite finding anything there. Viking on the way up. Cryptumor taking a little bit of damage. Doesn't quite fall though. 2 more Hellions on the way out. Another Viking also on the way at the moment. Meanwhile, guys, just got some updates. Zest just 2-0 Deer. So if Zest advancing through 2-0 against Deer, also means we can open up the second screen to maybe jump into another matchup. I'm kind of interested in keeping that open until the Maru game becomes available, just so that we can definitely get into the Maru game no matter what happens, basically. Anyways, for now, Viking comes out and will pick off this nearby Overlord. The Hellions just got rid of a Ling or two that were looking for some information, and Rogue will throw down his Baneling Nest to get this underway. With a Banshee play coming up from ByuN. It's actually a little bit of a delayed Banshee, wasn't kind of committed to right away. A single Zergling should pick up that information. Sees the starport, but not the tech lab actually, so that's quite nice. Rogue doesn't actually know then about what's going on here. As more Lings are being made, is Rogue going to go for a Bane? But I mean, he's making more Queens. Okay, there's some drones. For a moment, I was kind of like, what is going on? Armory comes up as well here from ByuN, so he is going to turn this into a bit of a Hellbat Banshee attack. But yeah, I was just wondering about Rogue, because he was making more Lings. He had, no drones on the way. I guess the fact he was making more Queens doesn't, suggest that this isn't an all-in, but for a moment I was questioning. I guess that, again, the Queens are a big sign that this is intending to just be a macro style, and Well, with multiple queens up, a good amount of lings. Just needs a few banes to make sure you can get through the Hellbats nice and quickly without letting things get out of control or anything. And as we do here, see those Hellions still moving around. Is that the first Banshee just flying into a bunch of queens? No, it was the Viking. I was going to say, the first Banshee just flew into a bunch of queens and died, then ByuN is really not having a very good time at the moment, but it doesn't seem to be the case. The rest of these Hellions starting to come across towards the upper right-hand side. And I'm going to get ready to push up this ramp in towards this set of queens and so on. A few Banes start to morph in. The Hellions now as Hellbats. And as they push on forwards, these Banes morphing in. I mean, they're not ready yet though, right? So that's the issue from Rogue. He waited a long time to start making these Banelings, and ByuN will be able to get all but one of them, and the one will connect and do an okay job. There's just so many queens here, and so ByuN finds himself having to back away, and ByuN is going to play mech. Playing a plating upgrade is probably going to mean that he's going to continue with quite a lot of Banshees, keep those going throughout the game, and really build up a decent Banshee camp, but also maybe means Hellion Cyclone more so than Hellions and tanks. And with Cyclones, you don't really need the attack upgrade, you just need them to stay alive as long as possible for their lock-ons to do a lot of damage, for them to, you know, survive as many hits as possible as they move backwards and forwards, locking on, killing units, and pulling back. Two Banshees gather up in the naturalers. ByuN sets up into this mech style. Just going to get confirmation in a few moments of exactly how he's going to play this out, and it is going to be those Cyclones, so again, for the plating upgrade, it does make a lot of sense. And it's a fun little way to play it. It's a little bit different to the regular kind of straight-up standard mech, and it's definitely kind of not figured out just yet either. A lot of Zerg players still trying to find ways to really play about this kind of play against this kind of new Cyclone and the Hellbat Cyclone styles that come with it. Watchtower taking a few, being taken by a couple of lings there. I mean, at this stage, ByuN will want to start pushing. He's going to keep on pushing. The main style of this is just to apply pressure and to never stop. Rogue is actually going melee upgrades, which makes me feel like he never figured out that this was actually mech. Seeing this now, I mean, he loses a couple of Banes already. I'm actually a little bit concerned, because there's a very real possibility that ByuN just has, Rogue just has no idea that this is mech. Now this could go very badly for him. I mean, Ling's running in, these Hellbats are just having a great time. I mean, with this many Banshees as well, the Queens start dropping so much faster. The Overseer got targeted down by a Cyclone, so there's no detection for a few moments. The Spore Caller relocates, which means the Banshees are uncontested for even longer here. And now the Banshees, I mean, coming in, these Queens just dropping so quickly. Transfusions are decent, but I think Rogue is just in a lot of trouble. ByuN doing a great job around the map at the moment, and more drones going down. I mean, fantastic job here by ByuN. Just completely had Rogue in the dark. Rogue had no idea what was going on, and ByuN will find himself game number 1 of this best of 3 with ease. Means for now. Well, we were going to stick with Rogue and ByuN anyways, but for now, there's nothing else to jump into either. To the top left-hand side, our blue Terran player, guys. Let's kick this off with ByuN. And to the bottom right-hand side, our red Zerg player from Jeanette Green Rings, Rogue. This is the Kung Fu Cup, guys. Welcome. How are you all doing? I'm Wardy, and we cast this tournament pretty much every Thursday. Same time, same place. If we do miss it, we generally tend to bring you guys a European cast instead from replays. We try to cast it live every single week, bring you guys as much of the action as possible. We try and grab as many replays as we can from other matches taking place at the same time, so that when we get to the end of the stream, we can extend the stream and actually cast even more games. So we do this every Thursday. If you're enjoying, if you want to make sure you catch us when we go live with it again, hit that follow button. In general, I'm casting StarCraft 2 pretty much every day anyways. The only exception to that this week is that tomorrow is my day off. So tomorrow's my day off, but I'm back Saturday with a double stream. I'm casting on Sunday as well. I'm casting on Monday, Tuesday. We just have so much StarCraft 2 this December. So much content for you all. Overlord from Rogue is heading towards the upper left-hand side of the map here. 6 Zerglings on the way out, and again, Hatchery is just coming up to being about halfway done. Reaper is about to pop out of that racks, and again, these first few Lings are definitely looking to cause trouble for ByuN. And as we do see the few Lings moving across. Hannibal Rising doesn't quite get the replay command there, but And we'll tell you about the replay pack anyways, just as these links come across. We do give away all of the replays from the games you see in this tournament, guys. So if anything you see on stream, you'll get replays of, which means we will be giving you guys Maru replays. We also have replays from the rest of the week. Pretty much everything we cast at the minute is we're allowed to give you replays for. So if you guys want to get your hands on those, they do go out to subscribers on a regular basis on our Discord server. So do check that out. Great reason to subscribe. Subscribing obviously helps us put on more content, put on more tournaments, and keep on casting. So kind of a win-win. You get replays, we keep on bringing you more StarCraft, you get more replays. It's just an endless cycle. It's just an endless cycle of goodness. These lings will die for the one SCV that was still left on the command center, and he does lose the other lings before he gets the other one. Good defense again by ByuN. He's very good against this ling opener as he goes into a second rack. See, factory is already done, but second rack's very quickly afterwards, so it's not a 2-1-1, but it might turn into something that looks like a 2-1-1, weirdly enough. Like, this was rack's factory, but he turns it into double reacted racks. Well, obviously, one of the factories jumps on this reactor, but then, if you're going to go double reacted factory, I mean, first of all, that would just be mass Hellions nowadays, because you need a tech lab for Cyclones. React on this racks, and I guess this barracks just builds a tech lab, and it just goes Hellions into bio units with a stim pack. Okay, so ByuN definitely has a little bit of a sneaky build up his sleeve here, it seems. And as he gets set up into this, Link Speed is going to be finishing up from Rogue in the next few moments, as we do see a couple of Queens. They're heading up to the top side there to push that Reaper away. Reaper just moving around to have a look at what is going on. Actually just over halfway done here. As you do see the supply depot finishing up on the natural. Supply depot finishes up on the natural, and a couple of Queens continuing to come on up. 10 more Zerglings on the way out. And a few more drones also just coming into play at the moment. Stimpack, as you mentioned before, coming through means we are going to be seeing bio out of ByuN this game, though this first attack is going to be very interesting. Unless ByuN starts a starport now, and I guess then it will just line up with medevacs more or less. I mean, it's going to be kind of like a 2-on-1. That's obviously not on time. It's going to be over a minute late, but it's still going to be some pretty fast drops with Hellions around as well. And I am interested. He's got 5 Hellions in total. He's not building any more at the moment. Keeping the factory on the reactor for a little while longer. Moves that away now. That's where the starport will probably head to in the next few moments. As the Reaper just went down while we were looking away. And the Hellions trying to deny creep spread as best as possible at the moment too. So Hellions just trying to deny creep. Again, the more you slow the Zerg down in those little ways at the start of the game, the better of a position you'll find yourself in. As a single Zergling of Rogue comes through the top side of the map, it's going to be getting all the way across through the top side. It's actually just going to end up sitting around here on the third base. Hellions from ByuN will continue to move on forwards, and you also see a couple of medevacs on the way up. Command center dropping down in the main. Hellions as well, still just moving around here. Lair is on its way through as well, currently halfway done. And as Lair completes, just see Rogue able to go in towards his Balin speed, and probably a... I mean, Hydra's Den or a Mutalisk... I was going to say a Mutalisk Spire. Well, just a Spire. But a Spire for Mutalisks. Both kind of options here at the moment. Marines unloading and going to come into this main base. The Ling's going to take quite a bit of damage right away. So actually this is quite nice. These medevacs run right in here. The Hellions are poised to the top side and maybe run by into a mineral line at the same time. Medevacs getting pushed away. Well, Smoke Crawler helps finish one off. Here come the Hellions. The drones are running, but that means they're lined up. The Lings arrive, but the drones are already being massacred. Somehow the Lings catch these Hellions and slow them down, but the drone losses are already pretty substantial. ByuN gets out with 8 of these Marines, and they escape out to the left-hand side. Medevac out in the center, as you do see 1-1 combat shields all coming up. Bane Nest coming up on the natural expansion with centrifugal hooks as well. Marines unloading out in the center. Creep still being pushed forwards. And as Creep gets pushed forwards, An armory dropping down, getting set to go towards 2-2 as well. ByuN looking very good at the moment. We're going to be seeing an overlord getting taken down also. Man, how much was actually lost here then? 14 drones, not crazy, but he also lost a lot of Zerglings, and ByuN is trading so well at the moment. Now when you give ByuN a bit of momentum, he will just not stop. He will just keep on going. He will just keep on going. He will just be relentless with his aggression. And just go, go, and go. Queen's here, going to find one of them. And we also see up in the sky the Overseer Morphin gets picked off. This 4th base is, I mean, that's just a definite cancel. Rogue doesn't get there in time, though, and it goes down. So 4th hatchery getting killed, and well, Queen's going to try and replace some of the group spread to keep it pushing up this right-hand side. Creep team are coming down out in the center. Marine stimming in. And just cleaning up some of the creep as well. ByuN waiting for his 1-1 upgrades before he giving this to any sort of a larger push here, but keeping Rogue denied to the 3rd base or so. Doing a pretty decent job of this at the moment. As we're going to be seeing those Marines still having a decent time. Marines will unload, and again, Overlord takes a little bit of damage. Bit of an update, by the way. Maru will not play Max Head. Maru will play Misaki, who takes down Max Head. Still going to be a fairly interesting game. We'll try and get into that one, hopefully ASAP. ByuN is dropping into the main base here. He's already forced the drones to pull away, and I mean, 1-1 upgrades, I wouldn't mind to help out. He can just lift her instead if this gets a little bit too difficult for him. He's still pushing on the top side, a scan there to help him get rid of as much as possible. He gets some Banes, which he pulls away from him. ByuN, in classic ByuN fashion, is doing a fantastic job of this. Has to lift up this time. Now he drops down 1 Marine at a time to get rid of these other Banelings. ByuN is just... I mean, when you let ByuN get into position when he can start showing off, that's when ByuN will just show off and absolutely outplay you. He loves this kind of style. He loves playing like this, and he still has Marines moving around in the center, picks up what he can there, and he gets out as well to try and get away from the Mutalisks. His drops are kind of running out of power now. They're running out of Marines inside of them, etc. They're running low on hit points, but the big push is now coming across the map, and as the big push comes over, I mean, there is not really enough on the map currently for Rogue to defend this. Well, Changelings get taken down here. The Mutas are clumping up together, looking to try and pick off a couple units ahead of the rest. ByuN changes up the medevacs that are dropping, sends one to the top side, but, well, Rogue knows about it, so he will send his Mutas to deal with that very swiftly. Nice micro backwards on the Marines, on the Mutas. They get targeted down by those Marines as well. Will lose 1. So saved a Muta, lost a Muta. 2-2 upgrades on the way from ByuN as he gets ready to push in on this bottom side. Widowmine's spreading out. The last thing he wants to do is throw this away by clumping up all his mines. A couple of Banelings split away from the rest to minimize the damage from that Widowmine that was out in the front. ByuN still have a lot of units here. Here we go. Rogue going to start moving forwards. Actually gets a good little surround to start this off. Widowmine's unburrowed to minimize friendly fire, it seems. They get burrowed again, but there's no Overseer. And so the Widowmines will survive. At the same time, this drop finally comes into play. It's another drop compared to the one from before. The Widowmines get decent damage, and will clean up a lot of the Zerglings that go to respond to this, as ByuN still has this army on the bottom side. Reinforcements starting to head over there now, streaming across the map, focusing his attention down on this 4th base on the bottom. A couple of Widowmines just coming off the cooldown. Here's the Mutas fly in. He's going to lose a Mutalisk. He's going to lose 2. Oh no, the Muta's taking a lot of damage. Suddenly the Muta's bruised and battered. Makes this much more difficult for Rogue, because now if they fly into a fight, they die so much faster. He has to be very cautious with this as ByuN scans ahead. Well, he has no more Widowmines. He's going to let the Marauders take the lead. A few Marines will stay in. You already see one Muta just dying in just a split second, it feels like, because they're just that low on health. The Marines have +2 armor, but no +2 attack at the moment. Here we go with the Lings and the Banes. ByuN just pulls back to the lack of creep spread here on the left, so you can get off of creep so quickly. Now Drilling Claws in play as well. Makes these Widowmines a little bit better repositioning, and even easier than before. A couple of Widowmines, actually again, friendly fire in there. As they're being retargeted, they're not allowed to go off just yet. This Widowmine will not go off, though. It will get taken down by the Overseers and the Mutas. And Rogue is making a valiant effort of holding on throughout this at the moment. Trying to get invited into another game, guys. Sorry, trying to multitask. Alright, ByuN is going to keep on pushing, but Rogue is counterattacking. Yeah, we missed the game. Rogue is counterattacking, Lings and meters are coming across, so ByuN now has to kind of deal with this, but he also knows that he can keep pressing forward. Just has to be a little bit careful not to lose too much. He will get this 4th base. In the main, units are going to start coming out here. SCVs will be pulled. Marines are just getting picked off as they spawn. Widowmine wanders into its death. And it looks as though ByuN is deciding to start going back home, but Rogue has actually done a really good job of holding off here. And is really making this work out as Lings are just all over the place. These Widowmines are going to be in trouble as they burrow up. A couple of Widowmines going off, but I mean, there's just no reinforcements truly coming out here. Finally, these Marines get back home. Rogue's counterattack is really making this work, and ByuN, off of a very solid early game, just has not been able to keep it going in the mid game. Now, he has got Rogue down to 3 bases, but he needs to be very careful with the units that are on the map right now, because if he isn't effective with what he has, he will lose this game. Also, ByuN is in +3 armor, but hasn't even started +3 weapons just yet. That is definitely a bit of a shame. Just letting this one get away from him a little bit. As he got a little bit over-aggressive, maybe. I don't know, it's tough to say what really went wrong. I think just obviously a couple fights weren't quite as good as they needed to be. Sometimes some Widowmines weren't his best friends, and maybe a little bit of overstimming. Maybe leaving the Widowmines a little bit exposed, so that even though they got decent connections, they were sometimes then still picked off too easily. We've seen the tech labs and reactors being picked off here. Those meters always just so frustrating when they get these sort of opportunities. Meters down into the center. Marines are coming down. We see a 4th base moving into position. So, I mean, ByuN is, if he can stabilize on 4 bases, there's some potential here. I mean, Rogue's up to 4 bases again, but he's missing gases, so it's not an amazing position for Rogue either. ByuN has +3 armor, but no +3 attack. If he had +3 attack, that would be so good for him. Like, the +3 attack is absolutely huge. It's so important. Obviously, with ByuN units, they're always fighting from distance, and they're always fighting very quickly. They fire a lot and very quickly. So, attack upgrades are the most important ones for them. Widowmine goes off there. There's a bunch of Widowmines hidden behind this barracks. I like the idea, just trying to be an annoyance at the moment here. ByuN just trying to catch those meters off guard and punish Rogue a little bit for, you know, being so aggressive with them. Meters down into the center. We see Infestation Pit going to finish up any moment now as well. And some Rogue coming across to the left-hand side. Couple of Overseers taking a shot or two from the 4s. Baneling's on the way up here from Rogue. And again, Meter's going to fly in up this left-hand side. SCVs are in some trouble again. I mean, ByuN is being pulled all over the place. His worker count down to 33, but his army supply is still somewhat there. If you can just take a couple of fights. He is starting to fight out in the center at the same time. Bane's off of creep. Do relatively okay considering the situation. So many more Banelings just waiting for ByuN to push further forwards though, and that's the biggest issue of all. The fact that there's just so much ready. ByuN has a lot of units still back at home, and there's Marines. Why don't you get rid of the Banes without too much concern? Meters go all the way down to the bottom side. There's nothing over here though, so maybe just expecting to drop, but ByuN is actually for once not dropping. Hive just now starts up from Rogue again. That's a very delayed Hive, but for the moment, looking okay as we do see, well, units in the middle of the map getting found kind of on their own. Leaving the Marauders in the front, but there's not enough Marines to fight against those meters. Meanwhile, he will also try and push forwards against this army over here, but there's just still so many Banelings from Rogue. Meters will fly in and SCVs will try and pull back, but now we're starting to see ByuN's army fall apart as well as his economy, and that means that he's probably not going to be able to close this one out or to find a way back into it. Banes roll in once again. The last few Marines are starting to go down. There's SCVs over here because ByuN is trying to pull units all over the place. GG is cool. I really like coming in on this map pool. I mean, it's big. It's great for ZVT, honestly. Let's go into this and see what's going to happen as we start off to the top left-hand side. Our red Terran player. This is the 2016 world champion, ByuN. And to the bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg player is Rogue. Has it really been 10 years, Wardy? 10 years since what? since we went on a break. I mean, I didn't say it was 10 years since we went on a break. I don't get it. Feelings picking off some rocks here down in the low ground. Speed gets started from Rogue. Not us opening with 6 lings this time around, obviously. No pool first. So a little bit different from what we've seen before. Meanwhile, a command center from ByuN will drop down in the main base. So gets that started up as the factory going to drop onto the reactor. That was standard opening we've seen between the two of them so far because of the lack of the lings. No Reaper this time either. ByuN just went straight into a Marine, into the Hellions. CC was done very quickly, of course. As you get this underway on Parasite, nothing too crazy going down at the moment. Everything just going to hang out on the top side. A couple of extra queens on the way out here from Rogue, and a few drones being added in as well. There's a stim pack starting up from ByuN in the main base with another couple of barracks dropping down. And well, so far so good, as a couple of refineries also being brought into play with a couple of engineering bays in the back of the main. And third CC already up and finished, morphing into an orbital command center. The Marine or 2 sitting on the south side of this main base, starting to poke their way through that overload, so a little bit of damage being done there as well. We're just getting pushed away from the main as the stim pack does come up here from ByuN. Factory starts up the reactor, starport drops down, and we get ready to go into a couple of medevacs in the next few moments. So, I mean, ByuN just straight off of this very kind of heavy bio opening into the 1-1. Just going to try and start applying pressure. And these are the sort of styles that I feel ByuN always does the best with. I mean, the kind of the fast bio where you can pressure and drop from the start of the game, and that's how he got himself into a great spot in that last game. Just let fall away a little bit when trying to take the fights. Really just took a couple of fights a little bit too overly aggressive than he should have done, I think. So, that said, we see these Hellions going to come in, and they do get themselves a good little bit of damage done, taking away a good amount of these Zerglings, and actually for only 2 Hellions, these have done really well. You don't usually expect to see the Hellions doing that much against so many Zerglings when there's only 2 of them. There's nice micro out of ByuN there. Meanwhile, extra drones on the way up, and as extra drones come up, the economy of Rogue really starts to get going for mid-game, which is accompanied by a lair. His double Evo is up, starts the Carapace upgrade, and the melee will surely be soon to follow. And ByuN with the first medevacs about to be on the map, we'll be able to start getting on the map and start seeing what's up, as he just needs to actually attack move that single Zergling and pick this off. Third CC already down into position. Again, just a very fast 3 CC build, a lot of racks to get going. And again, just the 2 Hellions really gives him a little bit of map control, but nothing too crazy. As the medevacs come over, he has high ground, and actually Rogue gets supply blocked from losing that overload. So that really hurts, as we're going to be seeing these Marines continuing down to the bottom right-hand side. A lot more lings from Rogue coming up through the center of the map. Going to be arriving on the top side very shortly. There's already Hellions and Marines here to deal with a counter-attack, though, so this counter from Rogue will do absolutely nothing, and now he's just missing out on units that could be back at home defending, because they're not going to achieve anything on the top side, apparently. An overlord set out above in front of the rest of the crew spread there, give an eye on things. No scan just yet. Maybe ByuN doesn't have the energy for one, you would imagine, as those Banes are getting dangerously close, and ByuN's pickup is not in time. Slow Banes connecting on Marines. That's not very typical of ByuN's play. That's a bit of a mistake there. A little bit overzealous, didn't pull back in time, and got punished for it. Those Marines gather up in the center of the map. So they're just going to be setting up in the middle here for a moment or two. Meanwhile, Lings hanging out on the top right-hand side. More Marines pressing forwards and going for a little bit of creep spread. Some creep teamers getting picked off here already. Marines, medevacs will just lift up right away. And look at ByuN's supply, by the way. 138 to 115. The army supply just heavily in his favor. I mean, +1/+1 is done from both, so upgrades are even, but ByuN has a lot to work with here as he gets ready to push forwards into this 4th base of Rogue that's just been established. Biggest threat for ByuN? Factor on creep spread here, so Might cause him to be a little bit slower than he could be. Because honestly, he should just be looking to dive on this. The Widow Mines will get themselves burrowed. First Widow Mine going to go off on a Queen. Here we go. The Banes on the left-hand side. For the most part, ByuN gets away from them. Decent splits. And 2 Marines left over as the Overseer gets taken down. So the Overseer will fall. Queens starting to build up some creep tumors to replace what was lost here. That one Hellbat chased down by a couple of Lings. Across the map, counterattacks are still unsuccessful, and ByuN still holds an army supply lead. While going into 2-2 against only +2 armor, ByuN keeping himself in a very, very, very strong position. Lings are running up the right side into the top right corner. Hive is on the way up here from Rogue as well, so I mean, he's trying to keep on teching, but I really feel he's got to find some sort of miraculous connections with these Banes to keep on surviving. He is in a lot of trouble. 40 army supply down. If he gets to Hive tech, then he could definitely catch ByuN off guard with the speed of it and so on, but he has to be able to survive so long to get any sort of reasonable amount of Hive tech up. A lot of the army supply that Rogue does have is in Banelings on the top side of the map as well. That also doesn't help him at all here. And that actually just allows ByuN to push forwards even more aggressively at the moment, as maybe seeing those Widow Mines getting burrowed. Banes do start rolling in already and connecting into a good few Marines so far. ByuN doesn't have any issue dealing with those Banes over here. The Widow Mine picks up a few kills. The Marines get a few. The rest go off on the depots, and there's only one left to hit the mineral line. So no actual kills. Rogue will send another counterattack across the map here. So another counterattack of Zerglings heading towards the top right-hand side. Medivacs and ByuN scattering up into the center. And as we still see, ByuN is looking to keep on pressuring with this advantage. He's about to hit 2-2. The Wall-off is back up and running. Marines are already in position as ByuN immediately goes in to push those Zerglings back. He's so fast with this. Every single time, he's just so ready with these to deal with these run-bys. A job well done here, as you see again, ByuN just stimming around. The road Bane lanes. Oh no, Rogue's gonna find a huge connection. Every single Marine almost of ByuN goes down. Only 3 remain. And it's a connection that might just keep Rogue alive in a situation that was not looking good for him. Widow Mines are trying to unburrow and reburrow, but they all go down. ByuN is going to reinforce with some extra units, but maybe now Rogue can just overrun this army. As you see the Lings, the Banes crashing in. And that was a huge connection to turn this around. As we'll see the Lings and Banes continuing in towards that fourth base here. Marines down to the bottom side of the map, going to pick off a Spore Crawler. A couple of extra Lings getting picked off. Bio units here from ByuN going to keep on pressing through. And we do see the command center dropping down on the forward 4th position once again. So that command center drops on into location there. And as you see, Rogue is... I mean, that burrowed Baneland hit was just huge. I mean, Rogue is now on Hive Tech. ByuN is not starting up 3-3, which is a little bit concerning. He's going to start giving Rogue a little bit of an upgrade advantage. I mean, Rogue is still just on Ling Bane, though. He's got 100 Lings on the map at the moment. ByuN sieges up a Liberate on what he expects to be a base, but there isn't actually a base there. That's actually quite amusing. So many Lings going to go counterattack. I mean, there's a little bit of bio here. Not too much. The Lings going to start going for those depots on the left side, but there isn't really units in position. This wall-off starts to be broken through. Meanwhile, the drop over here is going to unload, and Rogue will go and respond to that as ByuN is pushing on the right-hand side as well, so just on multiple sides of the map. Units picking their way through these Zerglings, doing a pretty good job of it. A couple of creep tumors going down as well. Here come the Banelings. Marines have to pull backwards, leaving the Widow Mines to get decent connections, actually. Banelings do begin to get cleaned up there. Still pressing forward these units. Starting to get a good amount of damage done. Another Liberator siege is up now. Lings continuing to get picked away at as we do see the Banes continue to roll forwards. Medivacs have to lift up and get out, though. As we'll see the creep tumors continue to drop down towards the front. Stims once again. Now off of creep. Rogue feels as though he's got enough to just keep on pressing forwards. I mean, he's going to surround all of these Marines, and ByuN still has an army supply advantage, but where is that army? Well, here comes some of it showing up right now. A couple of Liberators sat around ready to keep on pushing forward with the rest of this. These Banelings get taken down by Marauders. This Marine and Marauder is starting to work their way through this base, which has just started to be taken, but Lings will come over to defend. But is there enough Banelings to keep this bio army pushed back? The first Ultras are finally on the way out. They're coming through right now, but... well, here we go. This bio force still pressing forwards. Lings and Banes still coming through. Another couple of Widow Mines burrowing up as we see the Lings still coming in, still getting picked off. It's a massacre right now, and Rogue feels as though he's losing a lot of his units. And I think he's going to lose this base. The Queens are still over here, though. It looks like he'll try and defend this position. Here we go. The Bane's going underneath the Medivacs for a moment. The Marines, it doesn't seem like there's too many of them, but just isn't that many Banelings either. And here come reinforcements as ByuN is going to overrun Rogue, pushing into this right-hand side base. And he is just going to clean up the rest of these Zerglings. The Widowmine goes off, and that's actually friendly fire more than anything. And here come the Ultralisks. Kind of playing not done just yet, but the Queens, well, a lot of their energy has already been used up, and that's really important because it means that the transfusions are not going to be as massable. A couple of Liberators here as well to help out. Ultra is going to be continuing to fight away. That 4 goes down as well. ByuN's able to get rid of one of the Ultras. A second Ultra going down. 2 Queens still firing away. Spore Crawler as well. The Liberator will eventually keep on cleaning this up. And again, just going to be seeing all of this bio from ByuN having a very, very good time. There's a couple of Medivacs coming down the left, and just going to be then ready to push somewhere else, it seems. ByuN keeping up with the action at the moment around the map, making Rogue work to try and stay in this game. ByuN just has such a huge advantage, though, and even Ultras at this point are not enough to really make this work out. And as we're going to be seeing the Ultralisk starting to push forwards. On the top side, these Lings going to run in for a counter-attack. I mean, ByuN's been pretty good dealing with those. He maybe doesn't have units immediately in position this time around, but he'll get units over there soon enough, and he will start to clean that up. The Planetary Fortress coming in on that 5th base. Again, that's set to go as this forward base of Rogue will go down. That's actually a really nice fungal grove. The Banes, I'm not sure why the Medivacs didn't lift up there. Maybe he thought the Medivacs were going to die. Anyways, ByuN manages to brute force his way through that base there. I mean, Rogue with a couple Infestors and Ultras, I'm not going to say it's impossible. It definitely is. I mean, yes, he's down, yes, he's hurting, but a couple of good fungals, some Ultras getting some good connections. ByuN is still playing a bio-heavy game. Like, there isn't a big switch into masses of Liberators or Ghosts or anything, so as long as that doesn't happen, the Ultras have somewhat of a, have some potential. I guess the issue is there's only 1 Ultralisk on the map, about to be 2, and so that's obviously not very much, as we are going to be seeing. ByuN picks off the Spore, and, well, again, just going to be seeing these Ultras pressing forwards. Liberators hopping out a little bit there as well. Big counter-attack of Zerglings once more. SCVs pull forwards to try and help block. Again, the units just seem to be in position already from ByuN as the Ultra goes wandering into Liberator range. A lot of damage is dealt. Now, ByuN is taking some damage. I mean, his work count is starting to really drop off. He still has the same army supply lead, but Rogue is really making wonders happen against this economy. These Liberators still up in the sky, though, doing a great job. Big fungal groves. Ultras will go down there. Widowmines still dealing a lot of damage to those Zerglings. The last Liberator is still around, but as Spore Crawler comes into position, the Widowmines will get blown up by the Banelings and so on now, and this will start to be cleaned out. Rogue is still down on army supply, but is still just about able to hold on here. Widowmine blows up more Marines than anything else. As you see all of this coming through the center and over to the left side. Banes coming up here from Rogue on the far right. And we are going to be seeing ByuN just getting set up. As these spy units will start to stem on forwards. Hatchery here is going to be in maybe a little bit of trouble. As ByuN gets in position right away. Again, there's just that 1 Ultra of his. Oh my god, the Widowmine kills so many Lings with the friendly fire is insane. The second Widowmine gets 28 kills. That choke point proving to be deadly for ByuN. For Rogue. ByuN took some hits as well. I mean, the thing is, ByuN is just keeping these 5 bases up, so his economy, for the most part, is staying very stable. Lings and Ultras and Banelings going over to the right-hand side here. ByuN is still mostly focusing on the left. More bio streaming across the map. He's got a dropship of units over here as well. I'm surprised we haven't seen the... I'm surprised we haven't seen more, like... just kind of more coming out of... I don't know, actually. I feel as though more burrowed Banelings. Like, the first burrowed Banelings were great, and then Rogue has just not had a chance since then. I guess ByuN's been scanning a bit, but it just doesn't feel like there's been any attempt to try and make them work. After they were so successful, and they basically saved Rogue in the earlier stages of this game. We're going to see this hatchery gets taken down. We're going to be seeing Ultras starting to pit this planetary forwards with some Banes to back it up. I mean, even if this planetary goes down, I feel like this is worthwhile here for ByuN because he's killing off multiple Ultras and Banes. As you do see, planetary still being repaired back up to health. This Ultra continues to escape over to the right side. Lings coming up through the center. Marines and Marauders. Have to be a little bit careful. Again, Rogue using counterattack after counterattack to make this work so far. Spire and another hatchery on the way up. I mean, the Spire switch. I mean, if you can get Broodlords out, brilliant. But I don't see a way in which he gets Broodlords out. Because we do see that Marauders and Marines still fighting against some of these Zerglings at the moment. Lings escaping through the top side of the map and just hiding away towards the upper right-hand corner. And again, the Bio doing quite a lot here, still working their way through that hatchery. Will get the kill. And ByuN is 129 to 60 army supply at the moment. It's a fantastic setup for him. It's a really good position. And as we do see it, continue to push down the right side. About to move up in towards this right-hand base. Spore Crawler will go down. And this time, well, Rogue's really going to be pressed to defend this. He's got so few Banelings. There's so many Liberators up as well. These two Marauders and a Marine are still picking off bases around the map as well. The Lings are in high numbers, but that's about it. And even if you get up to Broodlords here, is it really going to be enough? Rogue is finally falling apart in terms of the amount of bases that he has. His economy is finally in the gutter. And ByuN is on the verge of making this work out for him and going through to the next round of competition today in this Kung Fu Cup number 24. A lot of Bio down to the south side. Liberators coming around the left. I mean, again, ByuN just needs to make one big fight happen, and he should win this very convincingly. However, this fight, like, I mean, for him to lose the fight would be almost impossible, I feel, at this stage. And as we get this underway, we do see Ultra's Bane's character starting to run forwards here and getting going. I mean, the Ultras run through the Liberators and they take a lot of damage in the process. They're all going to fall to this Bioforce. There's so much left over. Rogue will have to start to realize that this is over. GG's.